Girl, Aaron Tveit in that Schmicago wig, looking like Bob Ross.
Oh my god, did you hear? Did you hear? Oh my god, guys. Jayke has a podcast. I can't believe Jayke has a podcast. Oh my god, Jayke has a podcast. You guys.
What's up, everybody? My name is Jayke Workman, and this is Oh My Pod, You Guys, a musical theater and pop culture podcast. You guys, I saw Six the Musical for the very first time on Broadway last night, and I got to see our very special guest who will be here later in the episode, Miss Bella Coppola. It was my first time seeing the show, and I was just beyond thrilled. It was so fun. It's so quick. The singing is redonkulous. These women are giving vocals. I can't recommend it enough. It's so great. It's funny. It's charming. Lucy Moss and Toby Marlowe outdid themselves with the writing of this show. So run to the Lena Horne to catch this musical. I mean, it's not going anywhere. Who am I kidding? Y'all, we gotta dive right into this BroadwayWorld Recap because, darlings, there is a lot happening in this world. First and foremost, we gotta talk about Olivia Holt making her Broadway debut next month in Chicago as Roxy Hart. If you've been listening to this podcast since the first episode, you know that I basically can't go 5 seconds without talking about Chicago the musical. However, this is some interesting information. Olivia Holt was a Disney girly, and I have actually met her a few times. She's great. She's really talented, and I think that she's going to add something really new to this role. She's certainly on the younger side for a Roxy, but I think that her performance background is going to lend itself really nicely to this show in maybe a different way than some of the stunt casting goes for for a Roxy Hart. So I'll definitely be interested to see what she brings to the role. Next, we have to talk about Apple TV dropping the new trailer for the latest season of Schmigadoon, season 2, which is going to be called Schmicago. So, they basically are diving into the more of like 70s and 80s musical era. So we have Alan Cumming and Kristen Chenoweth, who are dressed essentially as Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett. It looks like Ariana DeBose has a fabulous cabaret-inspired number, and the trailer looks stunning. I loved the first season of the show. I thought it was absolutely hilarious, so I can't wait to see sort of the references that they make and what they choose to poke fun at in this season. And also, Aaron Tveit looks like Bob Ross, so that's fun. Okay, next we have to talk about this Mean Girls movie musical. I gotta be honest with you. This is my piping hot tea of opinions. When I first heard that the musical was even gonna be a thing, I was kind of like, why? Like, do we need this? Because the reason that Mean Girls worked so well in the first place was because it was a dry humor. It was a dry, dark comedy. And I think sometimes, when you burst into song, it sort of like adds this layer of camp that you just don't really need in order to make that comedy come across. So now that we are coming full circle and seeing a movie version of the musical that's based on a movie that was based on a book, I'm just like, y'all, we've gone too far. I mean, the talent in the movie is stacked. Ashley Park just joined the movie. Busy Phillips is going to play Regina George's mom. Renee Rapp is reprising her role as Regina George. Jenna Fisher is going to be in it. Tina Fey has confirmed that she's going to be in it. And I love all of these people. I think they're all immensely talented and hilarious by themselves. But I'm just a little like, is this what we need? This story and in this moment? So who knows? Who's to say? Maybe it'll be magical and I will be obsessed with it. In a little bit of off-Broadway news, Maude Apatow extended her run as Audrey in Little Shop, and she's now going to be joined by Drew Gehling to play the dentist. I think he's immensely talented. I saw him as Dr. Pomander in Waitress, and I would love to see him in this role. It's so funny and over the top and ridiculous, and so I'm sure that he will not hold back. We also saw this lovely photo of two absolute queens on the official Broadway World Instagram account, Carol Burnett and Julie Andrews, for NBC's upcoming special that is honoring the legendary Carol Burnett. They look absolutely beautiful. They were also joined by Kristen Chenoweth. People like Katy Perry and Allison Janney were there. Cher was there. Billy Porter, Darren Criss, Jane Lynch, Bernadette Peters. I mean, this NBC special is going to be something else. And to honor such an amazing performer and comic, I cannot wait to watch it. It was also just announced that Sinatra, the musical, is going to premiere this year in the UK. It's going to be written by Joe DiPietro and directed and choreographed by Kathleen Marshall. And there's kind of a buzz around this show. We don't really know if it's going to be like a true jukebox musical, if this is all going to be true to Sinatra's life, what the vibe of the show is going to be. I'm really intrigued. I think of all the like sort of biographical musicals, Sinatra has a lot of really like juicy things that you could play on. So I'll be interested to see what audiences and critics have to say about it before it makes the inevitable jump across the pond. And lastly, Broadway World just announced that to celebrate their 20th anniversary, they are throwing a celebration concert that's going to benefit Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. And this lineup for this concert, you guys, is unbelievable. Just some of the people on this list are Laura Benanti, Shoshana Bean, Michael Arden, Jessica Vosk, Donna McKechnie, Cheetah Rivera. My God, like the list just goes on and on and on. And I am so beyond excited to be included in this celebration. These Emmy, Grammy, and Tony winning artists that are all coming together, not only to celebrate Broadway World, but to show their support for such an incredible organization as Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to hopefully chat with some of these amazing peeps, perhaps convince some of them to come on the pod, and to get to just hear these people sing the house down boots. And that, my friends, was the Broadway World Recap. Oh my pod, you guys, I am so excited to welcome my next guest. She is currently starring on Broadway in Six the Musical. Please welcome Bella Coppola.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
Thank you for being here. Is that how I pronounce your name? Coppola?
Coppola.
Coppola. Bella Coppola.
How dare you?
You heard it here first. Great. We're off to a great start. How are you? Where are you calling from?
I am calling from New York City from my new apartment. I just moved into my own apartment. Such
Fantastic.
a exciting time. Calling from my living room.
Congratulations.
I was just watching RuPaul's Drag Race. I'm a recent RuPaul's Drag Race fan.
Oh my
so I'm watching
God.
All Stars right now. It's a good time.
Oh, yes. Welcome to the club. Which All Stars are you watching?
All Stars 2.
Oh, fabulous. Some have argued that it's the best season of Drag Race, so
it's really
you're
good.
in for a treat.
And season 5 is what I started with, and that, I mean, come on, it's so good.
Come on. Have you gotten the chance to see Jinx Monsoon in Chicago?
No, I haven't, but I saw that you saw it. How was it?
Oh my gosh, it's everything. I mean, I'm just obsessed with the show in general, but seeing Jinx do it was like the icing on the cake. It was fabulous.
I've seen the bootlegs. It's really good.
Oh, yeah. She sounds fabulous. So tell me, where you live in New York City now. Where is home for you pre-New York?
Home for me is Sacramento, California. I haven't been there in a while.
Sunny West Coast.
Yes, do miss that weather. But yeah, I really haven't been there since, I guess, 2021. But yeah.
Wow. Because you got things to do, honey, in New York City. So I got to see you. Was Kinky Boots your off-Broadway debut?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Wow, fantastic. So I got to see you play Pat in
Yes.
Kinky Boots, which was so fun. What was your road to that show?
Oh, I mean, I guess I just got like an audition from my agent that summer and went in the room like twice. It was such a chill audition process, which was really great. And, you know, Jerry was kind of like the first director I ever auditioned for that I was like, oh, I like know his name. You know, he's done so many shows. And it was so chill. Like I felt so comfortable in that room. It was so great. It was in and out, which we love.
Oh, yeah.
It's so hard when they give you like a million notes. But in that room, it was like literally did it and left. Yeah, so I think I went in twice and then found out like maybe 2 weeks later and got to be a part of a very fun show with a very fun cast and had a great time.
And you slayed the house down boots, mama. You
Thank
were
you.
belting. Had you seen the Broadway production prior to that?
No, I actually hadn't. I did see it on the West End when I studied abroad. But no, I had never seen it on Broadway. But they did kind of like mount the Broadway version on us.
Yes.
Which was cool. And Callum Francis, who was our Lola, he like did the Broadway production and whatnot. And that was really fun because he's incredible.
Unreal. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it was my first time first time doing the kinky boots.
Putting on the boots.
Putting on the boots. Factory worker.
Yes. And then so not long between that and your Broadway debut, I mean, how was your experience? Well, backpedaling. I'm babbling. I'm so excited.
Yeah, how we met.
Yes,
right?
how we met.
Say?
Yeah. Was in auditions for Six. Tell me about your experience through that process.
Ooh. Yeah, it was a long process. I think I had gone in for like about a year. But that first one where we met, that was my first time going in. Or I guess it all started back in 2020. I had just graduated from my parents' living room during COVID.
Beautiful.
And I got my first audition for Six, which was also like my first audition since graduating. I was so excited.
Yeah.
And it was for the Aragon tour, which was supposed to start as like a Chicago sit down. And then I think that's what we went in for later. But anyways, it was a self-tape, so I did that, and then I think I got called back for Jane, and then, you know, COVID happened, and it didn't go anywhere.
Wow.
But then I think a year later is when we got called in October. And I literally was like, this is it. I'm going to book this. I don't feel this way about a lot of shows, but like Six, I was like, I know I can do this. It's pop rock. Abby Mueller is a blonde, curvy woman. Like I see myself on the stage. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
I got my hair done. I got my nails done. I spent $1 million on this audition. Learned the dances before. Bought LaDuca boots. Oh my God, I actually spent $1 million for this audition.
Yes, I remember you putting on those boots and you were like, this is it, bitch.
Yeah, so I came in and then didn't get a call back. Humbled.
Love it. Yeah. Really Brought right back down.
Brought right back down. No, but it was a really good lesson because I kind of came in like, as long as I know the steps, I'm going to be okay. I'll give in personality and face. But in the meantime, I wasn't really taking in any of her specifics, which there are like a lot of specifics she has to give over the course of I don't remember. It was like a 2 or 3 hour dance call. It was a long one.
Yeah, it was long.
Yeah. And so, but it was nice because Peter gave me feedback and was just like, you just need to work on your dancing and like, we're going to bring you back in, but can you work on that? And I was like, oh, okay. And so anything from you. I like get back into the gym. You know, it was just like it was my first dance call ever in the city. I think first time dancing back from the pandemic. So, you know, I just like didn't have the stamina. Right. So, I like work on my strength and also like let it go because, you know, that's what you have to do. Totally. And then, in the summer, I think is when it popped up again for the Berlin tour. And they called me back in. And I was like, okay, I'm going to chill this time. I'm not going to spend another $1 million. I'm just going to, like, wear what I feel comfy in and, like, do me. And they know who I am, whatever. And my one goal was to get, like, one callback further. And I come in, I do the dance call. I actually listen to her specifics, learn my lesson. And she was like, you improved so much in your dancing. And I was like, oh, that's great. And then I think I sing. And then I get a call back. So I was like, yes, okay. That was my one goal. And then I just go through the process. So I think it was 4 in total for that tour that I did. And this was for Jane Seymour and Aragon, actually. Just coming back in, doing the monologue and song a million times, different notes, playing, coming up with riffs. It was actually really fun. And I don't know if you ever did it, but did you ever do it where you have to, like, sing in front of other people auditioning?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's different.
That's strange. Something that I had never experienced before in an audition, for sure.
Yeah.
And also, the track specifically that I was auditioning for was Berlin. And so that song does not really lend itself to, like, solo singing. Like, there's, like, lots of clapping and, like, the other girls are, like, chiming in. And so, like, it was literally just, like, the ladies behind the table, like, fully giving me clapping rhythm and everything. I was like, oh boy, this is very intimate.
Do they sing the backup? I can't remember.
They sure did.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
It's so funny.
It's so weird, and yet they have, like, good energy about it. And, like, I remember the
course.
girls that I went with, they were all, like, you know, like, very supportive. So it sounds weird, and then it somehow is, like, not so bad. I guess maybe depending on who you're with. But yeah, I went through the process, and then I make it to the end, and I think it was like I made it to the end for Aragon for the Berlin tour, and then they bring me back in one more time for a work session. And at this point, I was like, oh shoot, like, I don't think I got it, because I don't know what else. Right. I don't know what else to do. I feel like I've literally done these songs a million times. And it was like a 45-minute session doing just the Aragon material, and then I didn't end up getting it, but that's okay, because at that point, actually, I did know about Kinky Boots, so it was kind of like, even though I didn't get it, I knew that I had this amazing job waiting, so that was kind of like, I had, you know, that was a privilege. And then in October of last year, I got a call from my agent while I was doing Kinky Boots, and he just was like, hey, the writers are in town. They want to bring you back in. They want to meet you, because they'd never been here. They're from the UK. And they were like, they want to meet you for Jane. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, do they just want to meet me for the future, or they're, like, actually roles? And he was like, no, there's actually, like, that's why you audition. There's roles. I was like, so true. And yeah, at this point, it's nice because I feel like, I don't know if you feel this way, but I feel like if you go in a room enough times, you just start to, not that you don't care, but you're just way more chill.
Oh, yeah.
So I went in and I'm just like, you know, they've seen me do Jane before. I'm going to bring in at least the last notes they gave me and try my best. But at this point, it'll happen or it won't. And I've done everything I can. So yeah, I did Jane, and they gave me notes in the room, and then I left and called my agent and was just like, I don't know, like, I don't know. I tried. I gave it my all, but I'm not sure. And then that day, he was like, it's down to you and one other girl, and I was like, okay,
wow,
like, this could happen.
Yeah.
And then I think, like, a week and a half, a painful week and a half later, where it's all you can think about, I got the call, and I was very happy.
Wow. Were you just over the moon calling everybody?
I was. I didn't even cry. I was just, like, in shock that, you know, your Broadway debut it's so special to, like, achieve that. And for it to happen, like, in the show in this role just felt, like, really special. Yeah. Because I had not gotten the tours, so it was like, oh my gosh, like, y'all, are you sure? You guys didn't want me for tour, but you want me for Broadway? Okay.
And look at you now. Well, tell me about, like, the stamina that is required to, like, do that show for that many times a week.
That's a great question. It's something I'm still working on, because for me, I've never been, like, dancing is not my strength. It's something I can do, and obviously I worked on it enough to, like, do this show. But in the show, after you do your number, you become the ensemble for the other numbers. So
Yeah.
it's definitely the most dancing I've ever had to do in a show, because usually if I'm in the ensemble, it's like a singer ensemble track, you know,
Sure.
like a mover vibe. So yeah, I think the hardest part about it for me is the boots, the heels. The girls in my cast will know I complain about it a lot. And I do flatinees. So on the matinees, I wear my flat boots to kind of, you know,
I love
my
that.
calves.
A flatinee. Yes.
Yeah, so that's a nice option that I'm given. But yeah, I mean, I think it's gotten better over time just by doing it, just like the endurance of it.
I assume this is probably like the longest run of a show that you've had to do, aside from Kinky
Yeah.
Boots.
Yeah, it is. And I think tomorrow is 100 shows for us.
Wow.
And I think Kinky Boots, I had just gotten to 100. So yeah, it will definitely be the longest I've ever done with the show, which is also, that's another learning thing I'm experiencing, is like when you hit a certain amount of shows, of doing the same show, yeah, it kind of becomes a job a little bit, and like kind of I'm learning a lot about that. I don't know if that's like something you've experienced as well, but like, and it's not even a bad thing that it becomes a job, but it's like, oh, how do I keep going? How do I keep doing the same thing? Yeah.
Are you able to find new stuff in the show and like with fresh audiences and things? Like, have you found new moments and pockets of time where you're like, okay, this is where I breathe because she's singing that and she's doing that over there, so I can like finesse over here?
Oh yeah, I feel like I've found stuff that and moments that like make the show easier for sure. In terms of moments and bits, I don't know yet. I think I'm still figuring it out.
The show also really clips along. Like there's not that much room to embellish because the writing is so great.
Yes.
and it is quick. But
yes. Yeah. And that's been another lesson as well, is coming in as a replacement. You know, as much as I want to bring like bits that I want to do and things I want to do, at the end of the day, the show is already a worldwide sensation.
Phenomenon,
like,
yeah.
Yeah, they want the show to be what it is. So that kind of was a learning experience too, that like it's not, I guess I don't know if you experienced this in Chicago at all, but like it's not as collaborative as I thought it would be, like just being in a machine show.
Yeah.
And that's just a learning lesson of
Totally
what it is.
Totally. Sort of rising to that occasion and being plugged into a well-oiled machine. That's, Chicago's been just going for so long that like there's essentially no way for me to mess it up, because like there is the track that you are plugged into, and that's what you do. There's no, like you said, it's not like you were in a rehearsal room sort of creating your own character and your own, like experience with the show. It's been done, and this is, I mean, obviously there's a little bit of wiggle room, but for the most part, when you are taking over someone's job, you are expected to do things in a certain way.
It is nice hearing you say that though, because it is just like, it's something that like I just didn't expect in this industry. And like maybe there's more room in like new works, but yeah, when you're being plugged into a show, it's like, they want it to be what it was. And it's not personal. But I'm like really like, oh, okay, this is just not what I thought it would be, and that's okay. Yes. But I think the sooner that I can like accept that that's just what it is, the sooner like it'll be okay moving forward too. In other shows.
Well, and remembering that, like even if they are like, this is the way it's been done, can you please like say it like this or hit this move like this? You are obviously your own person, so you're gonna bring naturally something new to a track. But it is interesting how when that show has been going and it's been done a certain way, you got to hit the marks and you got to hit the moves the way that they need you to. So tell me about your collegiate experience. You went to Texas State University. How was your training, and how did it sort of like prepare you to do a show like Six?
Yeah, I loved my time at Texas State. I really did. I loved that program. Caitlin Hopkins, who's like the head, is an amazing teacher, and I love my class too. We're all super close in the city. We actually, like, most of us live like walking distance from each other, which is crazy how that worked out.
Oh, that's so wild.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I loved it. I feel like some big lessons that I was taught was she really prioritized like mental health in college, which was really helpful. Like, I feel like I have good tools on how to manage my mental health, especially in this industry. You need that. You need that groundwork. And I've been calling her lately because, again, like what we were saying, certain things don't really hit, even though I was taught them in college, until you're doing them. So, for example, she always would say, like, you know, once you're on Broadway, it does become a job. So you can't rely on the job to, one, make you happy, and two, give you like creative fulfillment, because it can't be that, because you're doing the same thing night after night.
Right.
But man, it's different once you actually are doing it. You're like, wait, but it's Broadway. I want it to make me happy, and I want it to like fulfill me night after night. And that was another thing, is like recently I've been like, am I a bad actor? Because some nights I don't feel connected to what I'm saying at all, and I'm thinking about what I want for dinner. And my teachers are like, no, like that is the job. It's not about you feeling it. It's about what the audience is feeling. So I feel like after a certain point, your technique just takes over, and your body knows what to do. You don't have to like go to any certain place to like manifest that. So,
and on some nights, I'm sure it's much easier to like drop into something like that. And then, you know, you have days where you're like, okay, this is where I'm at right now.
Right. Yeah, it just depends on the day. But yeah, those are things I was taught in college. We even had like alumni coming back to our school being like, yeah, if you can see yourself doing anything else, like really do it, because it's
the age-old argument. Yes.
I know. This is hard. And I was like, oh, they're so bitter. And now I'm like, oh no, you know what? I get it. I do get it. Like, they're just saying like that is true, because yeah, this dream job is still the dream job, and there are so many positives to it, obviously, but it does become a job, and you have to be okay with that. So
yeah. Well, speaking of things like externally outside of theater, did you have some incredible original music? I listen to it often. Tell me about your experience as like a singer-songwriter as well as a Broadway performer. Are there intersections in that experience, or do you keep it pretty separate when you are creating your own stuff?
I feel like I keep it separate, but I feel like I keep it separate, but it's nice because musical theater was always my dream, and it's not really something you have control of, but songwriting I do, because it's all me. And that was something that was great that I was taught in college. Our sophomore year, we did sophomore project, which basically everyone had to bring in their own original works to create this show, and I ended up writing a song and shared it. And because of that class, I am now a songwriter, like comfortable with sharing my music. And I met my friend who produces my music in Texas, Ian Flores, shout out. It's just like such a lovely outlet, and I love like the creativity to it, and it's just my own, and you know, I write all of it, but then, you know, I collaborate with him and he helps me like bring it alive. But yeah, it's so fun. I haven't really like written new stuff, but I have done like my own shows in the city, which have been really, really fun. And I want to do one this year, and I want to release new music this year, but I just haven't been inspired to write lately, but I want to, because again, I want to like get creative again outside of the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the song is called Vodka Lemonade, isn't it? That song specifically, I live. The vocals are sickening. It's so wild. And of course, when I met you, I didn't know you, so I like somebody, I can't remember who it was, but someone was like, oh my gosh, you have to listen. My friend Bella put out this music and whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, great. Like, we're listening to it. And then I was like, I think I know her somehow. I was like, I think I recognize her. So it's so cool that, like, you know, you have this complete other thing that you can put your energy and your artistry into outside of the show.
Yeah, it is really nice. And I need to, like, come back to that for sure. But, yeah. Do you have, like, something like that? Or is it the podcast that's, like...
I would say the podcast. I mean, when I started this, I really didn't know what to expect, or I didn't have any sort of, like, actual set trajectory of where I was going. I was just kind of like, I love to talk to interesting people, so why not do it? And now it's been wonderful so far. So I'm loving it. But
great.
Yeah.
Love that.
So tell me about your experience growing up in California. Do you have a very musical family? Do you come from a lot of art and theater and music, or were you sort of the one that broke out and did the thing?
Yeah, definitely that. No one in my family is very musical at all. I guess I was the first one. I mean, I started when I was like 5 or 6, like did a little dance show. I think it was Annie, a dance version of I don't know what that is. Oh. I did like a little tap dance in Annie. That's what my brain's telling me, but that seems, I don't know what that is. But from there, I never quit. The bug bit me.
Gotcha.
And I just started and kept going, and I did theater, and I eventually like did ballet to, you know, help with the dance, and took, you know, professional voice lessons, and it was more expensive than my dad was hoping that it would be. But my mom was great about just being like, no, it's worth it. And he knows that now. Like he's always been supportive, you know. He had, you know, the money was also, he always liked to fight against the money, which is valid because theater is an expensive thing.
Absolutely.
Because it's theater and voice and dance, which like should be separate if you're trying to get like, you know, the good training or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, I loved... There
certainly is like a level of privilege that comes along with being able to study
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
It's expensive, yeah.
Sure is.
So I'm very grateful for my parents who supported me in that and, you know, supported me in going to college for it as well. And
totally.
It all worked out for the best.
Gratitude to the parents.
Yay, parents.
So I want to ask about your back to 6 because I'm like kind of obsessed with your social media presence, like
thanks.
in terms of what you get to share about the show. You guys have a lot of alternates who work their asses off to go on when you guys are not. What is that experience like for when you are on stage and you may show up to the theater an hour before the show and they're like, oh hey, someone's on for Aragon or whatever? Is that a wild experience to have
it's
to sort
so
of like
fun.
switch
It is kind of wild in this show because the parts that we are allowed to like bring our own selves into these roles is the riffs. So like per queen, you have like very specific pockets that you're allowed to change the riffs, and it's very encouraged, which is really fun. The
like night to night.
No, sorry.
Okay.
No, like, you know, how Carrie and Abby did the riffs for Jane, I do them differently. Like
Gotcha.
Not night to night.
Okay.
That would be wild. Honestly, is that allowed? I don't know. I think no. Let's try it out tonight. No, but it is fun because when an alternate comes on, their riffs are completely different. So I remember like when each queen debuted, like I would literally be like trying to do the dance moves, but also listening to their sickening riffs and being like, oh shit, like I have to like keep going. But yeah, they're so good. Like, oh my God, I don't know if you heard Christina Leopold's Par. It was on Let's Hear It for the Choice, but she does this like crazy riff that goes like all the way up, and And I had done the put-in with her that day, the day she debuted. So I knew it was coming, but I just got to see all the girls on stage that were like I know they stopped singing. Like, they're supposed to sing with her.
Oh my God.
So yeah,
amazing.
it's so fun. I mean, like, that is what makes, you know, the show fun when alternates go on. I've always loved that, because, you know, it switches it up from being the same exact show.
Yeah. And I think there's something like really important. I talked a little bit about this with Rachel, sure, but knowing that if you need to not do the show, if you're like, I can't physically, I can't vocally, I just need to take a time off, you know that there are people who are ready and able to do your show just as well, you know, and like,
absolutely.
I think there's like a weird stigma and like sort of culture around calling out or not being able to rise to the occasion every week, 8 times a week, full belting, full everything. And I think it's a little bit ridiculous that, I mean, that's like the reason that we have standby swings, alternates. So I love to hear that you enjoy getting to go on with all the alternates. I think that's so cool.
It's so fun. They're so amazing. I love going on with them.
Do you feel beautiful in the show?
Oh, that's such a cute question. I do, actually. I really do. It's my favorite. I think it's my favorite costume and wig I've ever worn. The costume is so pretty, like the corset is so nice. It also kind of helps me with my dancing because it keeps my core, like, you know, all in because it's a real corset.
Yeah.
And the hair is so like beautiful and long, and I'll like come out of the stage door and
coming through, and
yes, the crown. And people will be like, "Is that your real hair?" And I'm like, "No, my hair would never look this good. You see it the way it is now." Like, never. It's so beautiful. I do feel beautiful in this show.
And you do get to play with your makeup and your nails and everything, which I love. I think that's
fun. Yeah, I don't know if you've been seeing anything on TikTok, but Leandra Ellis-Gaston, who plays Anne Boleyn, she really has been playing and like posts her TikToks now. And yeah, her and Zoe Jensen, who plays Catherine Howard, they're like the makeup queens of our show. And they switch it up now like every night, which is really fun that we can do that. Like that's fun. Another thing to kind of like come out of the you know, the typical day. Yeah. That's fun.
So you mentioned TikTok. Can you talk a little bit about like the reception of the show, and specifically when they announced that you and the 5 other girls were gonna take over? I feel like there was a real like buzz and excitement about like this new team of queens that was gonna come out. How has it been received for you on like social media and TikTok, and like, you know, having fans come to the show and know who you are before you even were there?
I honestly didn't even think about it in terms of social media, but I guess I see it more like at the stage door. But I will say it is really nice coming into a show where like a replacement cast is very celebrated, and that goes down to the alternates too, like the queendom, as they call it, the fans of 6, like celebrate everyone in the show. Like the especially the diehards are like, when are the alts going on? Like, we want to come see them. We want to come support them. The bootlegs are out every night of the Mega 6. Like, people are so sweet, and people are very sweet at the stage door too. Like that's been such a fun part of this show, because, you know, I used to be that kid that like wanted to meet these people. And,
of course.
It feels really like, it fills my cup, I think, to do that after a show, because then on the nights that, you know, I'm not feeling it and I'm like, oh, I was not connected, I'm a bad actor, that was rough. Someone's like, I loved your characterization of Jane Seymour, and I'm like, work, okay, I'm amazing. So totally. It's been really nice. People are very, very sweet.
Totally. And I it's so funny, to your point about, you know, we were that kid. And so like to on any time that I get to be at Chicago and get to come out the stage door and people ask for a photo or whatever, I'm like, oh my God, you want a picture with me? First of all, busted. I just did a
No,
full
literally.
show. But it's so, it's such a great reminder of like, wow, I like strived for this and I dreamed of this. So that's really cool. Are there people in the Broadway community who you like really look up to? Or is there like one person who you're like, that career or like that role or path would be what I want to do?
Actually, I do say this a lot, is actually Renee Rapp's career is what I want, because she has done it all. Like, she did Broadway, then she did a TV show, and then she has her music career now, which is also something that I'm very into. And then she's doing the Mean Girls movie.
Yeah.
Come on. She's doing everything.
She's kind of
That's what I want to do.
Miss Rapp.
Yeah, that's what I want to do. I would love to just try it all,
Yeah.
And like at the end of the day, my like love has always been singing. That's like the first thing. So whether that's in musical theater or music, but let's talk about the money in TV film, okay?
Which is so ridiculous and so accurate. Like, my God. It's like the daily pay for a TV
Like, you could
show.
have one line and make $1 million, I'm pretty sure is the rate. So
don't quote me on it, but you're right. That is absolutely correct.
yeah, I want to do that.
So pre Off-Broadway and Broadway, you have obviously worked regionally. What's been some of your favorite like shows and roles that you've done? You got to play Mrs. Wormwood in Matilda.
Oh yeah, I did. Oh my God, yeah, that was at Wagon Wheel, which, okay, I saw a TikTok yesterday of someone that was like kind of coming for summer stock, which is valid because they're just like, don't let these theaters exploit you. But honestly, I love that I was exploited. It was one of the best. It was one of the best summers of my life.
Yeah.
Was I making, I think, $250 a week? Yes.
100%.
Was I carrying the set to the stage after it was being built? Yes. And was I striking till 3 a.m.? Yes. But I was also drunk the whole time I was doing that. So it was amazing.
And not for nothing, you learn so much about like
So much.
yourself, working with other people, like longevity, being able to handle it. I mean, I have worked multiple summers in summer stock theaters like that, and it is grueling. People, it is not for the faint of heart, but like I have also made some of the most important relationships. I mean, one of my very best friends in this entire world, Michelle, was because we worked together in this tiny theater in the round in the middle of the woods, like animals coming into the theater. We had an owl fly into the theater and up into the light booth, like, darling, a full bird of prey. And me and Michelle were just like, you know what? we're giggling. We're getting the coffee in the lobby at intermission, like. But you learn so much. So what else? What other shows besides Matilda have you gotten to do?
Well, that summer I think I did Matilda, Oklahoma, Singing in the Rain, and Mamma Mia, which was just really fun. And yeah, like you're saying, like I'm literally still friends with that group of people, because how can you not bond over summer stock? Because it's crazy. So I did that, and then I this last year I did a new musical called Otherworld in Delaware, which was really fun. And I guess in new works, there kind of is more room for that collaboration that we were talking about earlier, which is really fun because, the writers want to hear their work out loud. And so they kind of need big choices to see what works.
Yeah.
And I just love this team. And I'm actually doing a workshop of it next week with them again. It's the writers they did Title of Show.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I've always loved doing new works. It's always fun because you just get to see a piece come to life. You get to see it change, which is really fun. So that was my first equity job, I believe, of last year. And then I guess I played Joe March and Little Woman at my school.
Yes, you did.
Which that was fun.
And it has been widely viewed and talked about online.
That was a really fun. That was fun because you get to sing Astonishing. I mean, like, that's just everything. And I got to do it with my friends on stage. And that was like my last show before I graduated too. So yeah, I feel like that's feel like that's... I can't think of any other shows I've done.
Amazing.
It's just those.
It's just those only.
Only those.
Well, if you would oblige me, I've started a new segment of the pod where I do sort of like a rapid fire musical theater questionnaire.
Okay.
So Bella, are you ready to answer some rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Okay. Here
Let's go.
we go. Sondheim or Andrew Lloyd Webber?
Sondheim.
Sweatpants or jeans?
Sweatpants for sure.
Do you have a favorite musical?
Cabaret.
Oh my god, and didn't you play Fräulein Kost?
Yes.
Oh, yes, bitch, you better work. Okay,
I'm
do you
obsessed
have...
with Cabaret.
Me too. It's my absolute dream show. I've understudied the MC 3 times and I want to die. Would you...
Wait, one day.
Do you have a least favorite musical?
Oh.
This is riveting. The suspense is killing me.
Shoot. There has to be one because there's a lot of bad musicals out there.
Or one maybe even that you're just like, I don't want to do that show.
Oh, you know what? Rock of Ages. Sorry to the Rock of Ages fans out there.
Sorry to this
Every
man.
time I get a self-tape... No, actually, I think I've seen it twice. No, it's just bad. It's just bad. I hate it.
Period. Okay.
Period.
Would you ever like to do a Broadway play?
Yeah, but I'd be a little scared.
Okay. That's valid. Are you a morning person or a night owl?
A night owl.
What is the craziest thing a director has ever asked you to do?
Oh, okay. Like get on the do the scene as a sumo wrestler.
Sure, I think I can see where that would really be necessary.
Yeah.
Golden Age or contemporary?
Golden Age.
Ooh, favorite role you've ever played?
I think actually Fräulein Kost is it's the dream. I love that role.
Gorgeous. How about coffee or tea?
Tea, chai tea, latte.
Nice. What is the hardest show you've ever done?
Ooh. You know, in a way, 6 is the hardest show I've ever done because of the movement. I'm just not used to dancing so much, but it's getting there. The stamina gets better every night.
Love it. I think you touched on this earlier, but what is your favorite costume you've ever worn?
Yeah, definitely 6.
Love it.
I just love the way it fits my body. They did such an amazing job on it. I really love it.
How about who is the silliest cast member in 6?
Maybe Nasia Thomas. She's a funny gal.
Outing Nasia on the pod.
Always. I'm always outing Nasia. I gotta be careful.
What is your biggest onstage mishap? Not necessarily in 6, but just in general. Have you ever had something go wrong?
Well, recently in 6, I fell in Aragon's No Way. I tripped over myself, and then I blacked out for a second, and my feet were in the air, and I was just on my ass, and I was like, what am I doing here? And the worst part is that nobody on stage saw it, so nobody could laugh at me. And so then in my brain, I was like, okay, guys, hold on. I'm brilliant. I'm going to address it because I just feel like it's better when you address it to the audience because they saw you fall. And so before my song, I was like, don't worry, I won't fall in my song. And there was a chuckle because nobody saw it. Nobody saw me fall. So I just made it worse for myself.
So what did I do it for?
I'm sorry.
Do you have a pre-show ritual?
I do 5 burpees for my warm-up.
Love it.
And me and Leandra, we share a dressing room, and we do love listening to Cardboard Box, the acoustic version. That is usually in our ritual.
Fierce. How about, are you a breakfast person, a lunch person, or a dinner person?
Definitely a lunch person. I don't really like breakfast foods.
Me neither. My the
Really?
most unpopular opinion. I don't like breakfast food, and everyone like shuns me for it.
Yeah, same.
Do you have a dream role?
I mean, I want to play Fraulein Costigan. Sorry, I'm obsessed.
No, oh my God.
I just love that role. It's so fun because you get to dance a little bit. You get to sing like a jazzy song. And she has all the funny lines. So it's just, I just love that role and I love that show. I mean, I gotta say Elphaba. Now that role seems like so hard and like, could I actually do it? I don't know. But like, let me go in the room for it.
Yeah.
Let me say that.
let me take
I just want to try.
Yeah.
Oh, and maybe Jenna in Waitress someday. That'd be awesome too.
Oh my God, absolutely. You would fucking kill it. How about what's the best gift you've ever received?
Oh, you know what? This was recent. When I moved into my new apartment, moving in, as you might know, moving is very stressful. But I came in and it was like really dirty and there were like roaches because the guy had moved out. So, you know, it just was too much time in between. The roaches thought it was like their apartment now.
Yes.
And it was just so many stressors. And Leandra, Anne Boleyn, she bought me a house cleaner, which was like the sweetest gift. And I like cried when she told me she was going to get it for me. Cause I had like come into that work that day and I was like sobbing. Like I was so unwell, just stressed. And that was such a thoughtful gift and really, really made me feel good.
That is so thoughtful.
Yeah.
Well, Bella, thank you so much for being on the pod. This was so fun.
Of course.
You're such
That's
a
so
treat.
fun.
I know. I love chatting with you. Obviously, I had met you a few times before, but we'd never gotten to like actually kiki. So I'm so excited. Can you tell everyone where they can find you on socials?
Yeah. On Instagram, it's Bella_Coppola. Coppola. And then I think my TikTok is Bella Coppola, but Instagram is kind of really what I use. And then if you would like to buy my sheet music, go to bellacoppola.com.
Yes!
Sheet music tab.
Get those original songs. And you gotta find, I'm assuming, I mean, I listen to you on Apple Music, but is your music also on Spotify?
Yeah. Yeah, my music is on like any music streaming platform. So go stream.
Fierce. Go
Please.
stream it. Thank you, Bella. You guys, that's it for another episode of Oh My Pod, you guys. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe anywhere you like to listen to podcasts. And follow the show on Instagram at Oh My Pod, you guys. Thank you so much for listening. Talk to you soon. Bye.